Good evening, graduates, families, friends. We cannot tell you how honored we are to have you with us this evening. My name is Dr. Rishi Sriram, and I am the Graduate Program Director and the Program Coordinator for this Master's in Higher Education and Student Affairs, and have the privilege of serving as the MC, if you will, of this evening. And we do not expect you to have finished your meal, so please continue eating. But we are going to ask Dr. Perry Glanzer, professor in the program, to pray for tonight.
The class before you gave me this prayer, actually as you framed it and put it in my office, and I really appreciate this prayer. It's from St. Augustine. Breathe in me, O Holy Spirit, that my thoughts may all be holy. Act in me, O Holy Spirit, that my work too may be holy. Draw my heart, O Holy Spirit, that I love but what is holy. Strengthen me, O Holy Spirit, to defend all that is holy. Guard me then, O Holy Spirit, that I always may be holy. This is our prayer for you. Amen.
So I want to give you an overview of the rest of this evening. In a moment, I'm going to introduce our Vice President for Student Life, Dr. Kevin Jackson, and he is going to share some remarks and his congratulations to our graduates. And then I will share a few remarks because I'm a professor and I like to speak. And then we want to hood our graduates. So we will call you all up one at a time. Dr. Newman will call you, and you will come up to the stage, and Dr. Jackson and I will do our best to hood you in a way that looks like we know what we're doing. And we'll give you a few minutes to share whatever is on your heart to say, as long as it's positive. And we'll go through each and every one of our graduates, and then we'll ask Dr. Alleman to lead us in a benediction at the end. But I want to be clear about why Dr. Jackson, Vice President for Student Life, is sharing some remarks. This program is unique, I think, from other graduate programs at Baylor University because of the strong partnership that exists between academic affairs and student affairs here at Baylor University. In fact, going back almost 2 decades now, Student Affairs invested a lot of money to really revamp and expand this program, to really build out the foundation by which this program exists today. And I was actually a student in the program when it was going through this transition, so I got to see firsthand what it was before and what it is now. And so we're really grateful for Dr. Jackson and the way that he has supported this program through offering apprenticeships and just being an avid partner about the growth and development of future higher education administrators, particularly those who are going to work with college student success. I should also add that, on the academic side, we don't have a lot of money for fancy dinners like tonight, and so Dr. Jackson is so gracious to provide money out of his budget to fund tonight's evening, which is just another symbol of their investment in this program and in you all as graduate students and now graduates of this program. Without further ado, will you please welcome Dr. Kevin Jackson.
Thank you, Dr. Sriram. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to have this opportunity to come together. And first and foremost, I just want to welcome you here. I've had a chance to visit with some of you, and what an evening, right? What a tremendous evening, an opportunity to celebrate our HESA graduate students through the symbolic receiving of their hooding tonight. And, before we get too far into that, I would like to recognize all the faculty who are here in the program. Would you just raise your hand? I know the benches make it hard to stand up. Just raise your hand so people can see you. There you go. Yes. Wearing their regalia. They look very, very Very academic. How about staff who are here? Our staff who are working with our students in different areas. Raise your hand so you can be seen. There you go. You bet. You get HESA grads, you've done it, right? You've done it. Yeah, let's clap for them. This is fantastic. All the readings, all the papers, all the tests, all the apprenticeship hours, all the seminars, all the study sessions, you have completed them. And you're here this evening to represent that, to receive your hood as the outcome of that. And of course, we have graduation later in the week. You've completed a journey that has educated and trained you to be the next generation of student affairs scholar practitioners. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a deep breath. A deep breath. Hold it for a moment. And I want you to cherish this feeling. This amazing accomplishment. You can exhale now. What a tremendous milestone. Do you realize that by getting your master's degree, you are among the top 10 most educated people in the United States? Only 10% population has a master's degree. So you are the top of that list. It's a significant achievement and milestone. There are others in this room right now saying, what is student affairs? And they're kind of looking at each other, and they've asked our HESA students that, and they're like, what is that? And I'm sure I could ask any graduating HESA student to give me a definition of student affairs, and we'd just be like that. Just like those oral exams you had, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put you on the spot. What I will say, though, is our professional association, which is called NASPA, they define student affairs as a critical aspect of the higher education experience. The work done by student affairs professionals helps students to begin a lifetime journey of growth and exploration. A lifetime journey of growth and explanation. In short, student affairs professionals are educators. Not so much in the sense of the traditional classroom setting, although this is a role we can and do assume at times, but in a more holistic fashion, providing learning that transcends the student's entire higher education experience. You see, student learning doesn't just happen in the classroom. Although it does happen in the classroom, it's very important. So I want my academic colleagues to hear that. We fully recognize that. There are opportunities for teaching and development. They exist everywhere and at all times on a college campus. And it's our job as student affairs professionals to seize these moments and to foster and promote these interactions. To encourage not only the practical application of knowledge, but the understanding of the commitment to human worth. Civility. Man, we could use more of that in this world right now, couldn't we? Respect for self and others. Selfless service, civic responsibility, and ethical leadership. Here at Baylor, we also believe our role in student affairs is to walk alongside our students in their faith journey. Thus, to not only foster their education, their maturation, and their preparation, but their transformation. The renewing of the mind, the body, and the soul. This is lived out every day on this campus in ways large and small, through a myriad of programs and services and experiences, all intentionally planned and delivered to help each student become more and more the person God has created them to be. You see, as student affairs professionals, we have this tremendous opportunity. Tremendous. An opportunity that most professions do not have. And that is to spend every waking day of our time helping young people grow, learn, develop, setting them on a trajectory in life that will help them become more and more successful. And as we gather here this evening and we congratulate these grads, I am confident that those that we recognize tonight are going to go forth and be difference makers in people's lives. I'm confident because I know the education and training that they've received here at Baylor University under the tutelage of amazing faculty and great staff. And I know this because I know their hearts. And I know the passion that first attracted them to this profession will be the passion that leads them forward to help students become more and more the person that God's designed them to be. As I close, let me remind you that the greatest investments in life are not in stocks and bonds, they're not in real estate, and they're not in precious metals. They are in precious people. This is the venture capital that you, our HESA graduates, have chosen to work with. And when you handle it with skill and wisdom and compassion and prayerful consideration, the dividends of your investments in the lives of students will provide great returns. And those returns will shape the future of our society. Please know that it's been my pleasure to walk alongside you at your time here at Baylor. I know COVID has created a little bit of a disruption of that, but we even worked through that together, didn't we? And I want you to know I'm very proud of you, and I'm very confident in the wonderful, wonderful work you'll do as you go forward. And as always, may God continue to bless each and every one of you here tonight, and may He continue to bless Baylor University. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. As a professor of higher education for 13 years, I have never been of any use to my family. Speaking of my family, we live here in Brooks Residential College. Our home is just right across the courtyard. And on Sunday nights, we have a meal just for Brooks College students, and we sit at this high table with guests that we invite, and it's just a wonderful tradition. So my kids have grown up on a college campus, but I repeat, I've never been of use to them. In fact, once, my middle daughter, Lily, I have 4 children, she hurt herself, and I was just trying to be cute, as I sometimes try to be, and I said, well, let me take a look at that. I'm a doctor. And Lily was very quick to reply, oh, Dad, you're not the useful kind of doctor. And unfortunately, she said that in front of my whole family, so I've never lived that down. But sure enough, time has passed, and I now have my oldest as a graduating senior from high school this May. So, let me tell you, I took the driver's seat on the college search process for my son Ellis. You can only imagine. So I've had this privilege of getting to study colleges and college students, but it's truly been an interesting and different angle to come at it from a parent. But I have to say, I mean this sincerely, it has given me a whole new appreciation of the work that you, our graduates, do. Because one of the things that, last summer when I took Ellis on a tour of colleges that I wanted to show him, we never set foot in a classroom. Everything that I was showing him, everything that I was talking to him about was the experience. What an education provides holistically, particularly just time-wise, math-wise, outside of the classroom. Whenever I get to speak at our hooding ceremony, I always love to tell this story about when I first became a professor. I was having lunch with a colleague, a professor at Baylor named Scott Moore, and it was in this very room. We were having lunch over there. And he said, so Rishi, tenure track professor, congratulations. What now? And I said, Dr. Moore, I can't wait to make a contribution to my field. and I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to publish here, and I'm going to do that. And he just kind of sat and listened, and I could tell he wanted to say something. And so I paused, and he said, I mean, that's great, but how about making a meaningful contribution to people? And I thought, ouch. It's kind of like Lily's comment, right? Like, you're not the useful kind of doctor. And, I started to feel very defensive. Like, yeah, that's what I meant, in making. But I reflected on it, and I feel like he had a point. Like, there was something that I was maybe losing sight of in the publications and the scholarship and the metrics and the things that you have to do to get tenure. And it just really made me think about what we're all about. The kinds of things that Dr. Jackson referred to just a minute ago. I'm really humbled by the idea of being a teacher, because a teacher presumes that we have something to teach. A professor presumes that we actually have something to profess. And I think it's also humbling because, of course, they referred to our Lord Jesus as teacher, as rabbi. He was a teacher. Even more importantly, he is a teacher, the teacher. One of my favorite authors, Scottish writer from the 1800s, is named George MacDonald. And he wrote, "No teacher should strive to make others think as they think, but to lead them to the living truth, to the Master himself, of whom alone they can learn anything." And then, of course, Jesus himself says in Matthew 11, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." For the last 12 years, I've had the privilege of studying learning. You would have thought when I got a PhD in education that I would learn about learning, but I didn't. So I went kind of on this journey to learn everything that I could. And here's something that surprised me. In fact, I nickname it the learning paradox. So here's the learning paradox, friends. On the one hand, I contend we greatly underestimate what we can learn. But on the other hand, I believe that we greatly overestimate how quickly we can learn. And here's what I mean. I think that we truly have the capacity to learn anything, but fear often gets in the way of us even trying. So therefore, we underestimate what we can learn. But when we do decide to learn something, we're very impatient. We think it should be easy. It turns out our brains are actually designed to forget. You're welcome. We have to convince our brains that something is important enough for it to remember, because our brains are taking in too much information. So the default is it's not important. I'll forget it. So do you know how long it takes before something we have learned becomes stable and readily accessible in our brains? 10 years. 10 years of convincing before you really know it, like really know it. Learning is hard. It's really hard. In Matthew 11, Jesus is inviting us to learn from him. Oh, what a privilege. That learning is not a one-and-done experience. It is a lifelong journey. So here's our hope, if I can speak for the faculty. Our hope is that you've learned or begun a journey to learning how to think and reflect more deeply, how to better understand how the past affects the present, how to see the power of decision-making that is based on evidence, to know how your paradigms influence what you see, what you believe, to allow your faith to amplify your learning no matter where you work or what you're doing, and to become teachers yourselves, again, as Dr. Jackson so eloquently said. But even more than that, I hope you have learned to have a deeper relationship with the teacher, the one who is inviting you to get in his yoke and continue to learn from him. Yes, we do want you to make a meaningful contribution to our field, but much more than that, we want you to make a meaningful contribution to people. Congratulations, graduates. We're so very proud of you. Thank you. Dr. Newman is going to come up and call you by name as these hoods are placed over you. Graduates, may it be a symbol of God's love, care, and calling being placed over you as well.
We started in the midst of a pandemic. Full-blown face masks for a solid year. I think some of you I didn't even recognize without a face mask until about a year ago. I also speak on behalf of the faculty that we are just so proud of you. And it is my great honor to call you up one by one. So without further ado, Riley Ackley.
So kind. It's a curse of my last name to always be alphabetically first, and I'm just, still getting used to it. And also I have to get through this before my phone dies, which is a shock to no one in the room that knows me well. And it's also really fun to be back in this room for this time of my life, this experience, because my first memories of Baylor in this room. I'm so sorry that I'm starting off crying. So it just means a lot to be starting and ending my Baylor journey in this space. But let me get through this. I've got 9%. 2 years ago, I don't think I saw this day coming. So much of the world was changing and different, and that I couldn't even picture it. 2 years later, and it feels unreal to be here. It's been a long road, so many memories, laughs, and stress. But through it all, Baylor has been my home, and not just for the past 2 years, but the past 6. The people here have become family. Baylor and HESA have challenged me to grow and to learn in ways I never could have imagined, and that I'll carry with me forever. When I think about leaving Baylor, the thing I'm most afraid of is losing this home and this family, and I worry that I'll never find something like it again. But knowing it exists, knowing what it was like, I'm excited to go out there and make it happen again. When reflecting on all this, I remember this quote I came across when swiping through Enneagram Instagram for 9s. Those quotes for every Enneagram number, that kind of thing. This one post was was about characters and quotes for each Enneagram number. And the one for the Enneagram 9 was Frodo Baggins from Lord of the Rings. And my initial reaction was, why do we always get the boring characters? I was not a fan of Lord of the Rings at the time. Sorry, Luke, I've grown. So the quote, and that means so much to me and that I've come to really love, is, especially at this time, is that I feel that as long as the Shire lies behind, safe and comfortable, I shall find wandering more bearable. Shall know that somewhere there is a firm foothold, even if my feet cannot stand there again. I'm so thankful for the challenges I've had, the people I've met, the friends I've made, and the home I've found at Baylor and through the HESA program. I'm thankful to the faculty for their wisdom and their unbounded care for their students. I'm thankful for my cohorts and their persistent friendship and kindness. I'm thankful to CLNL for teaching me how to live with and support students well. And I'm thankful for the friends and family that made me the person I am today, capable of achieving all that I have. Thank you for being my Shire, my firm foothold. It's because of you that I'm ready for my next adventure.
Dana Christensen.
All right, if you know me, you know I probably didn't prepare anything, and you're right. So just want to say thank you to everyone who's been a huge supporter of me over the past 2 years, specifically my cohort and the faculty and staff. And those of you who have watched Gwen while Patrick was deployed or while we were trying to do homework, just really thank you so much. This has been a learning experience, truly coming from the Northeast and learning Texas and answering my questions regarding Texas, specifically, is it normal to see a man riding a horse down 5th Street? So thank you so much for all the support that you have given me over the past 2 years, and I look forward to seeing you all again.
Megan Fletcher.
Hello, my name is Megan Fletcher, or if you don't mind, Megan Fletcher, MSED for the first time. All right, like Riley, I've been on the verge of sad and grateful tears for the past several weeks, so I'm going to do my best to keep it together as I articulate everything this experience has meant to me. Well, if you know me, you know that I love Baylor. After completing 2 degrees from this institution, I'm honored to pursue my PhD at Baylor through the Higher Education Studies and Leadership program. As a first-generation college student, I would not be standing here without the support of the family, friends, and educators that spurred me on to this point. To my grandparents, thank you for providing a passion for the world through the opportunities you gave me. To my parents, thank you for raising me and always exemplifying Christ's love in everything. To my siblings, thank you for being a consistent source of joy from the day you were each born. To my cousin Taylor and her husband Dexter, thank you for always cheering me on. The blessing you each have been in my story does not go unnoticed by me. I didn't plan to stick around at Baylor for so many years, but I'm so grateful that I did. I got to have 2 more years of close proximity with my best friend Raquel, whom I met during undergrad. Raquel, you were the best friend I always wanted, and I'm so grateful for you. My time in the HESA program instilled so many things as my learning and passions were enlivened. Thank you to each of our faculty who invested in us. I remember the nerves around our first day of graduate school to walk in with Dr. Newman's evident care and enthusiasm for her students. I remember receiving rather intense feedback from a paper in Nathan's class, and for the first time being called to more by a professor who supported and challenged me more than I ever had been before. I remember the profound impact of Dr. Shriram's teaching pedagogy and feeling free to learn like I never had before, especially as a perfectionist, and his continual and intentional development in me as an individual and an academic throughout his time as my thesis advisor. Thank you. I remember learning about the Sabbath and what it means to integrate our faith and work from Brother Perry, which eventually became so foundational as I managed full-time school, work, thesis writing, and job hunting. With that, thank you to my department and those who supported me during my time as a grad hall director and more recently the North Village Residence Hall director. Thank you to Ian and Lisa for trusting me and equipping me to lead a team and being there as I learned a new role. Thank you to my office mates, Luke and John, who had so much intentionality and gave me humor in the hard moments. To my staff and students, thank you. I do it for them, and I'm just continually overwhelmed with the honor it is to work alongside them. And to my cohort, I love you all dearly. This experience has taught me the beauty of Christian and academic community to a whole new extent. Inside and outside the classroom, you have shaped me. It has been an honor to live, work, and learn alongside you all. I guess Dr. Shriram was right when we sat awkwardly in prosem at the start of our program, and he told us to look around at the people who were then strangers, but would eventually become people that we'd have to be pried apart. I will hold our bond with the utmost gratitude in all things, and I eagerly look forward to what the future has in store. Thank you.
Pacey Ham.
Can you hear me now? Is this better? I will never forget sitting on my couch 2 years ago, looking up graduate programs, stumbling upon Dr. Sriram's video on the HESA webpage, looking at my mom and saying, I think that's where I'm going. I never could have imagined where the last 22 months would take me, but there are so many people I'd like to thank for making this journey what it's been. Josh is not here, so I'm going to skip that part. To my cohort, it's because of the 8 of you that I'm still standing here today. I've never had a group of people show up for me the way you all did last spring. You held my hands both figuratively and literally as I caught up with school, as I navigated my health in a new normal, and as I fought for the mental strength to stay in this program. Thank you for learning with me, encouraging me, loving me, and making me laugh so hard my pacemaker starts acting up. I wish I could go back and tell younger versions of myself what it'll be like being friends with you guys. I can't wait to see all that you do, and I will enthusiastically be cheering you on along your journeys. I love you guys. Ted, Elijah, Ryan, Sarah, Kevin, Dr. Glanzer, Dr. Sriram, Dr. Newman, and Nathan, the way you have all taught us and advocated for our success will influence my approach to education for the rest of my life. The excellence, compassion, and knowledge that you all exude, I can only hope to emulate should I have the privilege of being in the classroom. It has been an honor to learn from you all, but Nathan, you get extra thanks because you gave me Linus, and she's the best gift of all. To my family, where to even begin? Grandma, Gigi, and Pa, I could feel your support all the way from Houston. Thank you for being patient when it took me an eternity to reply to your phone calls and texts. Even if I didn't respond immediately, know they put smiles on my face during really chaotic days. I'm so happy all 3 of you are here tonight. Avery and Reese, you have listened to countless rants about how much I love or hate Waco depending on the week, and you have loyally answered my FaceTimes and texts when I'm procrastinating doing my homework and studying. I'm so glad you 2 are going to be at college together in the fall, but you better believe I'm going to have FOMO. My 2 best friends are doing life without me. Please continue to answer all my procrastination phone calls and texts. Dad, your advice to always have a solution in your back pocket when you present a problem to someone came in very handy over the last 2 years. Thank you for checking in with me, even when my responses were short and stressed, sending me cat memes, and for always reminding me you were proud of my work ethic. Mom, you picked me 3 years ago, and you have picked me every day since. I would not be the woman I am today without the way you fiercely love and fight for me. I told you when I was 14 I wanted to get my PhD, and you've supported every crazy step I've needed to make sense. You have mourned serious losses with me and eagerly celebrated the most trivial things like a Qual Cup sticker. All of my goals have been achieved because you were always making sure I reached the finish line. Finally, I have to thank my great-grandparents, Gran-Gran and Papa. It's because of them that I've been able to always pursue my passion for learning, and I wish they could be here tonight. Megs and Micah, I'm so excited to begin this PhD journey with the 2 of you, and Katie, I'm thrilled you're offering to make us dinner on a regular basis. But on a serious note, what a gift it is to keep doing these exciting and crazy parts of life with you all. Baylor has become more to me than I ever could have imagined over the last 2 years, and I can't wait to see what the next 3 or 4 bring. Thank you all.
Kara Hansen.
I love public speaking. I hate public crying. So this is an interesting emotion for me. Yeah, I'll keep it short. I don't know why I'm still surprised when God answers my prayers. But when I prayed about grad school 2 years ago, I just never imagined anything this wonderful. I'm thankful for my parents, who instilled a love of learning and the confidence to set goals and chase them. Maybe too much confidence. I'm working on scaling it back sometimes. It's good. I'm thankful for my 3 older siblings, my 3 best friends, Kelsey, Kale, and Clay, who consistently inspire me through their own excellence and encourage me as I try to keep up with them. I am thankful for faculty members who pushed us to be better, but were gracious when we stumbled, and who care more about who we are than how we're doing in their class. I'm thankful for coworkers who feel like family, and I'm so thankful for 8 classmates who I got to do it all with. I recently read a quote that says, "The only trick of friendship, I think, is to find people who are better than you are, kinder and more generous and more forgiving, and then appreciate them for what they can teach you." As great as our curriculum is, I'm sorry to say, guys, I learned a lot more from my cohort than I did from the many, 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 many assigned readings. But just more than anything, I'm thankful for the Lord's timing. I'm thankful that I didn't know I wanted to pursue higher ed until a few years after undergrad. I'm thankful that I happened to apply for grad school right around the time that a global pandemic hit. Not thankful for the pandemic, just thankful that my grad school applications happened during that time, because if HESA hadn't moved their interviews online, I would not have been able to attend. I would have ended up at a different institution, and it just wouldn't have been this wonderful. All of that meant I got to be at Baylor in the HESA program with this cohort at this time. So it just doesn't get any better than that. All right. Thank you.
Katie Klingstead.
All right, I'm going to try to even the playing field of people who cry and people who don't. So I'll do my best. Yeah, kind of what Kara just finished on. A lot of us joke about it now, but there is about half of our cohort where if COVID hadn't have happened, we wouldn't be here. Andrea would probably be off in Georgia, Kara in Tennessee, Micah might have stayed in Kansas, I would have still been in Ireland, who knows where Dana would have been. And we don't know what would have happened with the others. And so I can speak for myself at least when I say that I spent a good time in my first semester and even in my first year thinking a little bit about being somewhere else. As much as I was enjoying my time and wanting to be present, I couldn't help but wonder what if COVID hadn't changed everything for all of us. And COVID continued to impact our cohort in ways that we never could have imagined and definitely didn't ask for. Serious illnesses, deaths of loved ones, not even being able to be all in the same room when we met or had our first class. Our first cohort picture is a little ridiculous as we're spread across like an entire lawn, all afraid to touch each other. You can't even see our faces. We should have printed that one out for y'all. But yeah, like I said, I spent a lot of time in the beginning thinking about how things would be different or even better if I was in charge. Thankfully, the Lord is patient with me, and over the summer, he reminded me of a passage in Romans. And in Romans 12, it says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus." And these words slowly began to change the way that I thought and acted and lived here in HESA and in the program. Whether we would have chosen or designed it this way, these last 2 years of grad school have been the race that has been set before all of us. Knowing this didn't make it any less challenging, any less painful, less full of grief and moments, and certainly didn't make the papers any shorter. But I began to see God's hand through the whole program. Throughout the courses that we took, each professor and PhD student that we got to have, the relationships we formed, our cohort, I could see God in all of it and in all the people here. I began to hope and try to run with endurance and excellence. As Brother Perry would say, I hope that we all became excellent in our identity as grad students, as apprentices, as employees, and as cohort members. And I feel that in large part we were able to do that because of what that passage says, the great cloud of witnesses around us. So I am thankful for the cloud of witnesses, my family, my parents, my siblings, our professors, the other grad students and PhD students who walked alongside us and poured into us, my supervisors, and most importantly, my cohort members. I would have quit the race after the first mile without all of you. And so I'm thankful for the way that our program has now prepared us for the next race. And I'm prayerful that we are able to step into our new roles, our new homes, our new cities, and our new jobs confidently, knowing that these are now the race that the Lord has set before us. And I think we have become some pretty good runners. So, thank you.
Micah Mitchell.
All right, I usually know what to say. This is a bit of a rush right now because I really don't know what to say. It's awesome. Hard pounding. So let's see, where do I start? 3 minutes. That's not enough time, Dr. Shroom. It's been a great journey coming through this program. I think there's been plenty of times where I felt like I haven't been enough to be in this program or to be studying in a grad program in itself. But there was one thing that I remembered a lot that my parents, right over here, they're wonderful people, love you guys. They reminded me of when, I don't know, some other time when I was struggling with something I usually do. So, but they just reminded me, hey, taste and see that the Lord is good. You know, one of the Psalms, and it's one of my favorite ones because it's very applicable to, I think, anything. So, kind of take a breath in those times when it gets really tough. A lot of times at grad school, I've reached out to you guys, reached out to my brother, real smart guy. My friends over here, Scott from LA. What's up, man? Good times, yeah. A lot of great people in my life to point me back to that reminder of tasting and seeing that the Lord is good. So yeah, big thanks to you guys already. Big thanks to the professors. You guys have guided us and bestowed your wisdom upon us, and it's been awesome to learn from all of you guys and be challenged and everything, especially when I hated being challenged. That was the worst, but you know, we appreciate it more than we might believe it. So, but also thank you to my cohort members. You guys are wonderful. I spent a good amount of time working in higher ed before I came out here, and I've worked with probably more people that are burnt out being in higher ed than actually enjoying being in higher ed. And getting to meet all of you guys has been awesome because it gets me really excited to see the people that are going out into the world to teach our college students, work with them in a bunch of different ways. So it gets tough, I will say that. And the times that I was out there, there were times that were really tough, and I personally was burnt out at plenty of times too. But again, kind of bringing it back to, you know, what my parents told me growing up, taste and see that the Lord is good. So when times do get tough, just take a breath and remember that and just think on that. So yeah, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Rachel Olson.
Hello. True to my form, I brought tissues. These have supported many my cohort in these past few days. Thank you. Okay. Thank you so much to everyone in this room for your support. This program in the past 2 years have been difficult. And I'll never forget 363 days ago when I met with Dr. Suram and told him that I wanted to drop the program. He listened to me very intently, provided a lot of active listening and support, and after 10 minutes he said, okay, now that we have that out of the way, can I say what I really want to say? In this conversation, he encouraged me and challenged me and told me not to take the easy way out and said that he believed in me. At the end, he said some extent of, picture this time next year when you're at Hooding, using your 3-minute speech to talk about how Dr. Rishi changed your life and how I single-handedly convinced you to stay and helped you recognize the potential in yourself. Well, 1 year later, here I am today. What a surreal feeling, and one that I'm not sure I've fully processed. I am thankful for all the support from those of you in the room. Tanner, thank you for all the support you've given me in the last 2 years. Thank you for listening to me cry, celebrating big wins, and letting me practice my presentations to you. You are an honorary HESA alum in my mind.
To my family who cannot be here for attendance, thank you for your support and your unconditional love. I can't wait to be in Fort Worth with them. To my supervisor, Katie, for all that you have done to help me grow personally and professionally, thank you. I cherish our friendship, and I'm so grateful for you. To my cohort for enduring many tears, sitting through all of my in-class presentations that I made the morning they were due, supporting my personal difficulties, loss in my family, imposter syndrome, and all the other things that life throws at you. I was terrified coming into this program with the thought of being with the same 9 people for the next 2 years. I'm happy to say that after 15 courses together, we are all still friends, and more than that, family. Each of our journeys are different, and I'm so proud of what you all have done and what you will do in your future. Thank you to the faculty for believing in me and encouraging me to stay. I've cried in front of most of you, some more than others. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you for your patience, your belief, and your grace, especially when grading my assignments, which I also wrote the mornings they were due. Thank you for investing in our cohort and creating unforgettable memories. Thank you for CLNL for giving me an incredible opportunity to work at Brooks College and to get to know an incredible team. I'm overcome with emotions about leaving. Thank you, HESA, CLNL, and Baylor.
And never least, but last, Andrea Puso Morales.
Whoa. I knew I was going to get up here at some point, but I don't think I was actually prepared. So bear with me. I do feel like everyone has said it all. We've had an incredible graduate school experience, and I can't really add many more words to that. And 3 minutes is just not long enough to fully encapsulate all that the last 8 years at Baylor and Waco have meant to me, so I'll just go a different route. I want to take some time to acknowledge those individuals that have encouraged and supported me through the last 2 years of grad school. I want to start by thanking my supervisor, Emily Sandoval, for your mentorship, trust, and constant encouragement, for making space for me to show up as my full self, and for your grace for me as we figured out how to build our program from scratch. Your work ethic inspires me, and your care for people truly humbles me. I want to thank my faculty who all have been encouraging and confident in my ability to succeed. When I doubted myself, I could rely on your faith in me, and I am truly grateful for that. Special mention to Nathan Allman, who has gracefully walked alongside me as both professor and supervisor. Thanks for the tough love and endless patience. I know it can be a lot, but your mentorship and care has really meant the world, and you're a real MVP in my book. Shout out to Ted Cockle, who I don't think is here, but he's truly was the best culture and org professor I could have had. You were given a room full of first years, overwhelmed by new transitions and the complexities of COVID. And he gave us the minutes and care each week to truly be ourselves and be present. And I truly don't think I'd be here today if it wasn't for that time, so thank you. To Sarah Madsen, I'm grateful that our paths crossed many years ago. HESA wouldn't have been what it is without your wisdom and care and encouragement, so I'm lucky to have you in my life, and I am a better person for knowing you. Okay, this is getting long, but I'm kind of almost done. So I think I heard somewhere that you become a culmination of the people that you're closest to. And while grad school has taught me to look for data to back up that assertion, I do think there is something to that message. So to my cohort, the 8 people I've spent the most amount of time with over the last 2 years, know that pieces of you will remain with me well after our time together. Thank you for your contributions to making me a kinder, braver, more caring, and funnier person than I was before I met you. I thank God for his work in choosing each and every one of you to be part of HESA 2022, and I can't wait to hear about all the romantic things that you'll do with your future. And lastly, and in fact, most importantly, thank you to my parents. Gracias a mis papás, sin cual apoyo y aliento, esto no hubiera sido posible. Gracias por darme las herramientas para tener éxito y por animarme en cada paso. Es un orgullo ser su hija, y este logro es tal suyo que mío. Thank you.
Can we express our congratulations to our graduates one more time? And now Dr. Nathan Alleman will come and lead us in our benediction. When he concludes, we are officially dismissed for pictures, and there's no need to rush out. And in fact, it looks like there's plenty of food if you wanted seconds even. So, Dr. Alleman.
Y'all have been sitting a long time. Why don't you stand up with me? Those benches, classic but far from comfortable. If you have a graduate near you, just slide over by them and put your hand to their shoulder. I've never done this with a robe on before. All of you who are graduating came here to leave. Some of you are not leaving yet, and that's good. We're glad to have you, but you will leave, and that's okay. Leaving is part of life that is unavoidable, and that's okay. As a young person, I grew up in a rural Mennonite church out in the middle of nowhere, Michigan. And often on a Sunday night with the crickets buzzing in the background, we departed with this song, and I share it with you as a benediction. God be with you till we meet again. By his counsels guide, uphold you. With his sheep securely fold you. God be with you till we meet again. Till we meet, till we meet, till we meet at Jesus' feet. Till we meet, till we meet. God be with you till we meet again. God be with you till we meet again. 'Neath his wings protecting hide you. Daily manna still provide you. God be with you till we meet again. Till we meet, till we meet, till we meet at Jesus' feet. Till we meet, till we meet. God be with you till we meet again. Join me. Till we meet, till we meet, till we meet at Jesus' feet. Till we meet, till we meet. God be with you till we meet again. Go in peace, friends.